Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Yes.
So I have a question. Uh, I take an action. The result of that action can be different from what I intended because of all the other vasanas. The resultant action will happen. So, how does Papa or Punya get calculated? Is it based on my intention? Is it based on the action or on the result?
The result is Punya Papa. So it's not based on the result,
Uh,
right? Then, with reference to your action, you cannot. Because if you take literally action, a soldier killing is also action.
yeah.
So he should get Papa no for that. So at the action level, we cannot be calculating things. So the only option we have is the intention behind the action, particularly for the calculation of Punya Papa. Punya Papa calculated based on your intention. Worldly success is calculated based on the quality of your action, not your intention. So Drishtabala, your action, skill in action. If you are skillful doctor, you become a successful doctor in the worldly sense, right? Just because a doctor is skillful, that doesn't mean he should be having a good intent. His intention of developing the skill itself is to become popular and exploit. Then what you will do? It's possible, no? So intention is not the defining factor when it comes to the worldly success or failure. Or what in the context what we had discussed in the last class is Drishtabala. Drishtabala defined by the action, quality of the action. Adrishtabala is defined by the intention. What is the bhavana with which you do? So based on that, the result will be. That result is divided into two categories, punya and papa. Hmm. Technically speaking, 13 chapters over. Because 13 chapters started with what? Arjuna asking Krishna to explain 6 words. Krishna has explained the 6 words. Now what? He is not stopping. He is continuing. Even after explaining the 6 terms, those technical words, he had asked for kshetra, kshetrajna, jnanam, jnayam, purusha, prakriti. Please explain. Explain. Next question. You should have gone to next question. But that's not the style of the Shastras. Always give more than what is asked for. That's why we call this knowledge transaction from these masters is taken as, karuna, compassion. Actually, it's not a good translation, compassion. Okay, translation. Karuna, the word root is kr, the same root for karma. You see, karma also is from the root kr. Karuna is also what? Is also coming from the same root, kr, action. What is compassion? Compassion is action, not attitude. We think, compassion is attitude. I have a compassionate attitude, sir. What is the difference? When love comes out as action, that's called compassion. That's called karuna. Your, your affection, your devotion, your love expresses as action. It should come out in action. So compassion is action. What type of action you do will show what type of compassion you carry. Like you remember, a few years back, we had one big disaster, you know, in Tamil Nadu during that tsunami, big disaster. Overnight, couple of villages lost, shelter, everything. There's a public notice came after a few weeks. Public notice. Please do not send clothes. You know that? Because segregation is becoming a problem for us. Why? 90% of the clothes which has been sent were not usable. See, because to whom they are going to give is the clothes is going to be given to whom? To people like you. Imagine suddenly there is an earthquake, entire Basavangudi collapsed. Koramangala also. She's saying, Appa, only Basavangudi, Koramangala, nothing happened. Koramangala poche. Lavely Road also. Imagine someone were to send a torn clothes to you. Will you wear that? If somebody gives, worn out. But how come those 90% of people sent it? They packed it and sent it. How they sent it? They genuinely thought they are doing some, they are so charitable people. They are feeling, empathetic towards those people and then they are sending. What empathy? Is this empathy? Not karuna. That's what Ananda, one of the disciples of Buddha. Most of these masters, the self-realized souls, do not have, long ministry. They are very short. Christ spoke only for 2.5 years. That's all. Okay, maybe 3 years. And, Vivekananda or Ramatirtha. Ramatirtha literally 2 years plus few months. That's all it is. His teaching is. They had a very short ministry, but Buddha had a very long ministry. He's teaching for over about 60, 70 years. Almost 8 years he was teaching this. Village after village after village after village he was going and teaching. Ananda, one of his disciple, very close disciple, asked him once, what is motivating you to speak to these people? He said, compassion. It's the compassion that they have, they speak. So Krishna is compassionate towards Arjuna. Out of that compassion, he is stretching more than what Arjuna asked. That is why 30 chapters continuing. Otherwise, in the 24th verse, we should have completed. Because he asked 6 points, he has explained beautifully those 6 ideas. Next. This is how it should have been, actually. But he is continuing. And a beautiful continuation he gives now as to how do you reach to that state of realization. You have understood this, Purusha, Prakriti, and all those things. But now the question is, how do you reach there? The path needs to be given, a direction to be given. Arjuna did not ask for this, but Krishna is volunteering. Verse 25. Yes, 25 and actually 25, 26 we do together because there is a, same idea is continuing. So you read 25 and 26 together and then we'll see. Yeah.
Yaninatmani pashyanti
केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये साङ्ख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे
यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये साङ्ख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे अन्ये देवमजानन्तः श्रुत्वान्येभ्य उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः अन्ये देवमजानन्तः श्रुत्वान्येभ्य उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः.
Reading verse 25. Some, by meditation, behold the self in the self by the self. Atmani, Atmanam, Atmana. Others by Sankhya Yoga, yoga of knowledge, and others by Karma Yoga, yoga of action. If you remember, in the 3rd chapter, Arjuna asked, Yamishreneva Vakyena, Buddhim Mohayasiva me, Tadekam Vada Nishchitya, Ena Shreneva Vapya. Tell me precisely. There he referred, Loke ismin vivida anishta pura prokta mayana. Jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. He is referring that here. Sankhya yoga, some by Sankhya yoga. Jnana yogena sankhyana. Sankhyas take the path of Jnana yoga. He said no. The same thing is what he is referring here as Sankhya yoga. And others by Karma yogena yoginam. Karma yoga, he is retaining the same word, referring to Karma yoga, yoga of action. Verse 25. I'll just see the 26 and then we'll come back. Right. Yet others, not knowing thus, worship the Supreme having heard from others, and they too cross beyond death, taking refuge in what they have heard. So there are few options he is giving here now. Option 1, or stage. Usually, the tradition Krishna maintains throughout the Gita is follow the Upanishadic tradition. Upanishadic tradition is highest, then taper down. Not from the beginning and then slowly build it up. Not in this way. They view movie reverse. First climax, and then see, and then introduction. Same way here. So first PhD, and then come to masters, and then come to undergraduation, and then kindergarten. So verse number 25 is master degree to school. Right. Verse 26, preparatory. And for most of us, preparatory itself will look so difficult. Right. And in our eyes, now I get really confused whether we are wrong or he is wrong. Because to us, what Krishna says as the highest looks very easy. And what he says is the least. At least this man. And he says, that means what? Least one, which means that should be the easiest one to do. But in our eyes, the last one looks more complex. What does it show? That means we have not grown. A child will always believe what? Studying first standard is the most difficult thing in life. PhD is very easy. It's very simple, big deal. This is so complex. Writing A is so complex. English A is little easy. Tamil A is the most complex one. But letter R in Tamil is the first thing they teach. They say you have to write. That's the most difficult one to write. Tamil theriyuma? Theriyuma? Anybody knows writing? Ana. By the time you write that, because in the world, if you see, all scripts have certain design, certain strokes. All possible strokes come in that first word only, and first letter itself. There is a circle, there is a curve, and there is a half one, and then there is a straight line, vertical, horizontal. Horizontal line, vertical line. Everything has come in the first letter only. So if the person can write A, that means what? He can write all other letters. Everything can be written. Most difficult ones. See, when I was studying in school, there is a movement came. I don't know whether it is still there or not. There's a movement that came saying you should not teach A first to the kids. You should teach them to write Ta, Pa. Ta is very simple. What is it? One line this way, one line this way. Ting, 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 ting. Pa is ting, ting, ting. That's all. They should get the confidence of first kids. They should also have the confidence that they should be able to write. Then you can give them complex. I don't know whether these people who have sustained this language for the last 2000 years correct, or this 20 years fellow correct. You people decide. I don't know. 2000 Kannada also same, huh? Writing like this.
They don't start A,
Ah.
Ga, Ga, Ga.
Yeah, easy patterns.
Yeah.
I think that movement has stuck here also. I think useless fellows. I think they are scholar. Bad caps. So one question, if it is so complex for 2000 years, I don't know about Kannada, but I know Tamil minimum is 2000 years. Because the oldest grammar book that we are having as on date is 2500 year old. I discount 500 years. 500 years, not just 500 years. I discount. Even then, it is 2000 year old. If a grammar can book of such quality to evolve, how many years the language should have been in practice? Huh? So you have to say at least 1000 years. So strictly speaking, we should say what? 3000 years. 3000 years they have sustained this language like this, teaching. This is how you should be taught, you should be taught, should be taught, should be taught, should be taught. Suddenly in this 20 years, scholars have, woken up. The traditional Upanishadic tradition is start from the highest. Address the highest student first, most qualified. Then taper it down. Then taper it down. Then taper it down. The highest practice he gives is this: some by dhyanena. Dhyanena means by meditation. Through meditation. Some by meditation. Anye sankyena. Few others by through Sankhya Yoga, yoga of knowledge. Few others by Karma Yogena, Karma Yoga. So verse 25, he gives three things. Dhyana, Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga. This you have to put in vertical, not horizontal. The vertical now. Verse 26, he puts a different category. That's a fourth category he gives. Dhyanena means through meditation. By meditation, few achieve. I'm sure in this classroom, at least all of you understand what is meditation. Meditation means single pointed concentration. That's called meditation. Right. Then you have Sankhya and this. Through these practices, through these spiritual disciplines, what happens? Behold the self, in the self, by the self. In one verse, he uses three self. Behold, in the self, by the self. So three Atma comes. Atmani, Atmanam, Atmana. Behold the self means behold Brahman. Then in the self. In the self, now don't say in Brahman Brahman is seen. By Brahman. So Brahman is seeing Brahman in Brahman. You will never understand what is he saying. It's like our Nityananda's presentation. He's following Krishna. Me, I'm not continuing. What a profound idea he gives. guys are making joke of it. Useless. The idea is very profound. You see. But don't take like that here. You see, Brahman is seeing Brahman in Brahman now. That is not teaching. Always knowledge goes from known to the unknown. You see? So, the word Atma is there, but the meaning is not the same. So, beholding the self, there you put within bracket Brahman. Then, where he is locating it? In the self. In the self, Atmani. So he is seeing Atmanam, Atmanam. In the self means in your buddhi. In your buddhi you see it. Then by the self. By the self means by having a pure mind. In the clear intellect, by the pure mind, you see Brahman. That effort is called sadhana. That is called spiritual discipline. What is the spiritual discipline now? From here we understand spiritual discipline and the result of the discipline, effect of the discipline. What is a discipline? Two disciplines are needed now. Discipline number 1, pure mind. Discipline number 2, clear buddhi. Then behold. Meditation, behold. Sankhya Yoga is clear buddhi. Karma Yoga, purify the mind. So you practice Karma Yoga, you practice Sankhya Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and then plunge into meditation, and through meditation you realize the self. That's what he is saying. You can say, why he is going round about? That's the style. You see, the style of the scripture is that. Now what do you do? So he says, some by meditation means some who have already attained clear buddhi, pure mind, plunge into meditation. Some who are not achieved it, attempt to get the clarity of buddhi through knowledge. Some do through Karma Yoga. Essentially Karma Yoga. Now we come to what is Karma Yoga, and then we go to Jnana Yoga, and then we go to Dhyana Yoga. So this is how we study. He is presenting there to here. We study from here to there. How he is giving there? What is Karma Yoga? Anytime we say karma, immediately every action is possible only by the actor. Correct? So when we are discussing Karma Yoga, we are not discussing karma, we are discussing the karta. You see? So what sort of bhavana with which the karta is seeing himself? Not action. How I am doing action is not his point. His point is what is the position that I am taking and performing this action. So what is the usual position of karta is with that kartritva buddhi you perform action. With that idea of I am the doer. Right? This is usual action. So anytime you have taken a position as actor and you have kartritva, then you cannot escape from the consequences of that. What is the consequence of kartrutva buddhi? Bhoktrutva buddhi. You see that? I am the doer. If you cannot escape from the notion that I am the enjoyer. I am the experiencer. What? The fruit. So with reference to action, you have kartrutva. With reference to the result, you have bhoktrutva buddhi. Karma. This is karma. Now what is karma yoga? Karma yoga is you take a different position from kartrutva buddhi and bhoktrutva buddhi. You do not subscribe to aham karta, aham bhokta. I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. Without that notion, if you are doing, that is called karma yoga. Instead of saying aham karta, I am the doer, you do those actions not driven by my agenda, my goals, my desires. I do those actions as not my desire, his desire. That is why every ritual when we do this sankalpa. Sankalpa, what do you say? Huh? Parameshwara Prityartham. You say no. Every sankalpa you say that, right? Or Narayana Prityartham. Some of the like Narayana. One thing for sure, what is it? It's not for my preeti. It is not for my pleasure. I'm not doing this action for my pleasure, which means straight away actions were performed with the attitude of Ishwararpana Buddhi. If you have done those actions as Ishwararpana Buddhi, then with reference to the fruits, how you will see? Prasad. Correct. All this is Karma Yoga. Practice of Karma Yoga na enna? Puliyodara. I don't know who told him, I like Puliyodara. Every day I'm telling her, wait till 12 o'clock and then you cook. Because he keeps setting Puliyogare, Pongal. He says, Prasad sir, anything that comes as a result of the actions that you have done, you take those results as not the results of my actions. It's not the consequence of my actions. It is his giving to me. When can you have that? Prasada Buddhi is possible only when you have this Ishwararpana Buddhi. You see that? Without Ishwararpana Buddhi, you do actions. And then when the results comes unpalatable, when it is coming as a pain, you say, testing us, Kadavul sodikkirar. As though he has no other job. He has to test you. Why would you test? All God's gifts. Some of them, produce kids also. They say God's gift, right? You know that, no? The villages, they say, Kadavul Bhutare. Gross fellows. And they think it is bhakti. It is bhakti lang. Karma yoga practice. Right now, the way you perform action is with I am the karta, I am bhokta. I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. Instead of that, you say every action is done not for my pleasure, not for my joy, not with my desire. It is not done for me, it is done for his breathing. You may think it's easy. Not easy, yeah? I tell you. That's what every time we say, let thy will be done. Prayer. They're supposed to say that every day. Let thy will be done. Thy will be done. Beautiful prayer. Thy will be done, Nanda. Then you do, man. Why should I do? That's what that Karma Yoga is. So through this practice of Karma Yoga, what will happen? The bulk of your desires will drop off. When this bulk of desires, this raga dvesha drops, then your mind is pure. How do you know that you have performed Karma Yoga? Your mind would have got purified. How do you know that your mind has got purified? You don't say, bulk of desire is gone. How do you know that? What is the indication of that?
You have compassion.
Well, just because I said compassion, don't start.
Disinterest in the world.
Huh?
Disinterest in the world.
Disinterest in the world. Disinterest in the world means you're interested in?
Higher.
Exactly. That the interest to pursue the higher will start showing. And your disinterest with reference to the lower. You will start seeking what is Nitya and start discounting what is Anitya. Disinterest with Anitya. So that is the scope. So, which means pure mind, if you have, is the mind which will be having a clarity in what it is pursuing. The clarity on human goal will come. Once you have got that clarity that I am no longer going to fall for this lower, I am interested only in the higher, then Sankhya Yoga. After that, Karma Yoga will not help you. You see, okay, let me do more karma, sir. Will it help? No. Because now his focus is no longer in this. Now he is interested in what is that Nitya Vastu? What is that eternal peace? I'm already in peace. It's not that, he is disturbed. Karma Yoga has already purified his mind. Now how he will be? He'll be in heaven. You see, he is in all joy, all bliss, enjoying his life. You can never see any sort of disturbance in him. It doesn't look like agitated at all. He is enjoying his life. Still, he understands what? The joy that I'm experiencing is Anityam. It is Anityam. Fleeting, temporary. It is a temporary joy, man. It's not permanent. It's conditional. It's not unconditional. Anityam, Asukam Lokam. They said no earlier. What is there in the world? 9th chapter. Anityam Asukam Loke. The world is what? It is Anitya and no Sukha here. It's not Sukha. What I am experiencing is not Sukha. It's only an interval between two Dukkha. That's all. It's a pause. That's about it. He understands that. Therefore, what he does, He says, I wanted to seek something which is Nityam. After he starts seeking what is Nityam, then Sankhya Yoga. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad starts. Right? Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Maitreya Brahmana. Then you can study. Then that Maitreya Brahmana will be appealing to you. Otherwise, it's just a conversation between Yakivalkya and Maitreya. What else he asked? What else he said? That's all. You will never get anything more than that. Then when you come to the Sankhya Yoga means, yoga of knowledge means a logical pursuit, a logical analysis, arriving at an irrefutable conclusions. That's Sankhya. Sankhya, the meaning of the word. I'm not talking about the system of philosophy. Sankhya philosophy, I'm not talking about. I'm only explaining the word Sankhya. Sankhya literally means that. Means a logical reasoning arriving at an irrefutable conclusions. So then the person starts this process of Jnana Yoga. What is the process of Jnana Yoga? Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravana is listening, not hearing. Most of the time you hear, that's all. You don't listen. That's what we say. There is a difference between Upanishad Patana and Upanishad Shravana. See, Upanishad Patana is done. These Vedic scholars, you see, they do the chanting and all. See, in the Veda Pathshala, they learn. No? When they're learning the Vedas, they learn the Upanishad portion also. They know the Upanishads. And what are they supposed to do there? Now, they are supposed to just memorize, which is a compulsory step, remember. You see, otherwise, suddenly you cannot go and in search of the books. When you're sitting and contemplating, the ideas have to flash. For it to flash, it should be in the memory. That is why first thing they kept is Patana. Patana is not reading, it is memorizing. So first stage is Upanishadic Patana. Bhagavad Gita Patana. That is why before the class we do the chanting. Why? One of the main reasons is this, so that you get familiar with those things. After the Upanishadic Patana, you do the Upanishadic Shravana. There's a difference. See? So you listen then. That's called the Sankhya Yoga. Starting Sankhya Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga means Atma Vare Drashtavyaha. First thing, Drashtavya means what? This is what Brihadaranyaka says. The one who sees. You should see Brahman. That is through Dhyana Yoga. Illa sir. Shrotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha. If you cannot be a Drashtavya, or you can become a Drashtavya only with Shravana, listening. Then we ask the question, listen to what? Obviously, listen not to Times Now. What does that say? Times Now, no, Republic TV. Republic TV. India wants to know. Nation wants, correct. Nation wants to know. Nation wants to know. 1 hour. I do Shravanam every day, sir. That Shravanam is different. You see, that Shravanam is not what is referred here. Listen to what you should listen to. Then we ask the question, how long you should listen to? Then we ask the question, how you listen to? What you listen, how you listen, how long you should listen. Allah Shravanam. Right? I'm not going into the details of all these things. All these things you have done already. Right? Now, again and again, you don't have to go into these things. Now, I'm only recalling the idea. So, whenever we say Shravanam, we ask this immediately. We should ask the question, listen to what? Then, how the listening should happen. Right? Then, how long you should listen to. From where you should listen to. You should listen. Listen to whom? You see? So all these things we need to know. All that is included in Shravanam. After Shravanam, you do Manana, reflection. After listening, you go back and bring out those ideas what you have listened and then study. This is where the problem comes to most of us. There are two ways in which you can do things in life. One is you study the scriptures through the learnings, through the teachings of the scriptures, through the eye of the scriptures, you see your life. Or through the eye of your life, you see the scriptures. Rida? You all with me? There are two different things. Through the eyes of the scriptures, you view your life. Another one is through your life, you view the scriptures. This is what reflection is. Reflection means through scriptures you should see life. Don't take your life experiences as a reference point to validate attachment. What are you doing? You are validating the teachings based on your experience. Yeah, how can you validate that? That's a wrong way of thinking. Right thinking is you study the scriptures independent of your life and then have that clarity in the teachings. Through that clarity, you view your life. Adha Manana. Manana is to build a conviction. See, conviction on this is the reality. This is Nityam. With the pure mind, you have understood Anitya. You have no clarity on Nityam. Remember, when you do Karma Yoga, what you will understand is, sir, the pleasures that I am getting from the world is Anityam. World is unreal. That you can understand. Then what is real? That you don't know. So to get there, you come to Shravana. Then you listen to. After listening, that listening should have resulted in the conviction on the subject. You see, conviction will come only when you have this manana reflection. Otherwise, you will say what? Sir, Bhagavad Gita la correct, sir, but today's world, that means what? There is no conviction. First, let me send my child, to abroad education, and then get a job, and then get him married, and then he will come to your class automatically. Sir. Why? That's how I came. Pressure தாங்க முடியல சார். They come. Where is your conviction? See, you are so convinced that education is important for the child. Therefore, you are willing to pay any amount. Isn't it? Nowadays, you see, now itself they start. As soon as they conceive, two things they do. One first thing they do is go to school. Second one is put on insurance. Right. Full application form. You have done? அது கூட நான் தான் சொல்லணுமா? A girl child na more problem. Double problem. Education we have to give. Marriage also we have to do. Last week I was speaking to Swamiji. I asked, Nada, how old is he? I said, he is 21. When is the marriage? I said, Epada, Kalyanam? I said, I don't think she'll give me the chance, Swamiji. Marriage also you have to do. Oh, so what to do now? As soon as you get start. I'm not saying it's wrong. Okay. Why you are doing all this is because you have understood the importance of it, the value of it. When it comes to this knowledge, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja, Mudamate, he says. Mudamadina, fool. Who is a fool? A fool is not just an ignorant person, remember. Because an ignorant person says, I don't know. A fool says what? I know. That's why Shankara puts it beautifully. He says, Mudamate. Muda. Mudan is different. Muttal there. No. Muda is different. Ignorant person is a different one. Ignorant will say, I don't know. This fellow will say what? I know. That conviction in the conclusions of the Shastra. So through Shravana, you understand the conclusions. This is the conclusion of the Shastras. That doesn't mean you should have a conviction on that. The convictions on those conclusions will come only when you do this mananam. So you got to clear all your doubts. All your samshayas should disappear. Right? That's why elsewhere he says, samshayatma vinashyati. You're ruined completely. Dangerous position that is. Doubtful. So no doubts. That means you are having a deep conviction. So conviction will come to who? Who will get the conviction? Purified mind should do Shravana, then do Manana, conviction will come. Impure mind, Shravana, Manana, conviction will not come. Confusion only will come. 25 years I'm attending your class, nothing has happened. What can I do? Nothing happened to me also. In the same boat. Why? That's why the krama is very important. The sequence is very important. You see, you can't beat the sequence. If you try to circumvent or if you try to short circuit, you will be, in danger. So conviction has to come. After that conviction, you go for this nididhyasana. That nididhyasana is what is referred as meditation. Dhyanena, by meditation. Those who have visualized this is lower, that is higher, and wanted to get to that higher, come for this knowledge, get that conviction, still there will be certain gaps. You may have conviction. You see, somebody asked me, you're also teaching, Swamiji also teaching. What difference? What is the difference? I'm also explaining Tattvamasi. I'm also explaining Bhagavad Gita. Someone went and told Swamiji actually. He had a very good class. He explains very well. He said, you'll detailedly, he will explain. He walked out. He said, any difference? One is you speak out of conviction. Another one is speaking out of your being. You see, words coming from the being is very different from the words coming from your deep conviction, which is very different from words coming from scholarship. You see the difference? If you cannot understand this and this, go this and this. It will be easier. A philosophy professor speaking and this, what is the difference? In fact, philosophy professor will be able to explain much more. But then, does anyone get inspired by that? But this, people are able to get some inspiration. Right? What is inspiring here is the conviction. To the extent I have the conviction, to that extent I will be able to inspire you. Right? But you will get inspired, but you will not get committed. You see that? That's the difference. Inspiration will be there. Yeah, super, sir. We should do. It's the most important thing. All that you will say. But will you commit yourself? That is not possible. That committing will come only when the words come from the being, not from conviction. Yeah, that's the difference. You're willing to give your life. You will sit there, appreciate, walk out. Scholar. Conviction, you will continue to say, yes, this is what I should do one day. Conviction. Words from being, now what happens? I'm committing today. That can come only if, if you people are not committing, whose mistake? Words are not coming from your being, it's coming from conviction. Speaking from memory, speaking from understanding, words coming from being. Still there is a gap. That gap gets filled through conviction, through this nididhyasana. So purify, get that material, clarity on the material, conviction, you sustain for a longer duration, there you get into realization. Sir, karma yoga lang, Ishwararpana buddhi, prasada buddhi, prasada you give, you will eat. Arpana, don't ask. You have to do things for his sake. What to do? There's another option. There's a beautiful option he gives. That is the next verse, verse 26. Yet others, not knowing this. Not knowing this means what? Not able to do this. Not there. They are not able to do these things. Worship the Supreme having heard from others. And they too cross beyond death by taking refuge in what they have heard. The three, they are not falling into any one of the category. Right? Because even to perform Karma Yoga, there is a lot of effort needed. Right? It's not easy. Karma Yoga itself is so complex. And then comes the Shravana, much more complex. Manana, much more complex. Then Nididhyasana is forget. Dhyana, forget it. So difficult, sir, all these things. To such people, what is the solution? I don't fall into any one of this category. Anye, what do they do? The study, reflection are not possible because study itself needs a lot of preparatory things. Just by having a pure mind doesn't mean you can come and sit. You have to have preparatory things here. To such a person, what is to be done? All that you need to do is what? Simply listen to somebody. I can't do anything on my own. What to do? Blindly follow. Literal meaning is that. Literal meaning is even those people who blindly follow, having heard from others. Others now who? Whoever you take as an authority. You take the scholar as authority or the conviction as authority or the being as authority, doesn't make a difference. Take somebody and follow. Automatically, you grow, he says. Just follow authorities. Simply follow them, that's it. Surrender to them. Commit to that personality. Remember, karma, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, personality is not counted. Right? Who is counted now? Only you, your effort. You just take assistance, that's about it. But you are standing on your own legs. Right? You just take them like a walking stick. Because you are going to climb. They go in the mountaineering, the climbing. When I went to this, Yamunotri, the beginning, they were selling, all the sticks, 20 rupees. If you give it back to them, they'll give back 10 rupees. On your way back, you give the thing, they'll return, 10 rupees to you. The sticks. So they're saying, take a stick, take a stick, take a stick. I said, what, you think I am an old man or what? I don't need. Sir, 20 rupees only, sir. Take. If you come back, you give me, I'll give back 10 rupees, sir. Only 10 rupees. I thought, I've been, we are all very charitable people, Said, okay, take it. I gave. The fellow gave that stick. For the first, 15 minutes, I was walking with the stick like, how this, Shankaracharyas and all, will be holding the stick and walking. Like that, I was holding and walking. After 15 minutes, you should have seen. Mudile. On the way back, drop dead. Another 5 minutes, if they would ask me to walk, stretcher down. I went back to that fellow and he gave me 10 rupees. Hold. Or 50 rupees, give him. No, why? Thank God you forced me. Otherwise, 6 kilometers, trek, mela. You walk on the way back. Without that stick, it would have been impossible. I don't know for others, but for me, it would have been impossible. And I would have seen anyone without stick there. If at all you see, 90% of them were sitting on somebody's shoulder. So 10% people are walking. 10% is on shoulder of somebody. What is that? That is the Shastra, that's the Guru. You take your assistance from them, but the effort is yours. Those who cannot do that also, what to do? Come that. Donkey. Sit on a donkey. And the donkey will take you. Wherever it takes, go. You know, wherever it takes, you go. That's 26. You know, 25 is with the stick you walk. Without a stick, the fellow will not go there. Yeah, I have better things to do. Right? He will not. He doesn't require those things. With the spiritual disciplines, you take their assistance, but you do your effort. But those who are not capable of doing their own efforts, what they have to do? Surrender. Simply follow whatever they say. They stand up, sit down, left, right. No questions asked. No thinking. The moment you ask question, immediately what is the rule? Verse 25. You start questioning, you start thinking, immediately you have to take care of your life. Then the rule is Karma Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. That's the rule. You say, no, sir. Rest of your life you should be how? Just listen to whatever they say. Even those people cross. But they also achieve. What a promising note, you know. Even then, it is possible. Then we always ask this question. Suppose if I surrender to a wrong person, you say what? It doesn't make any difference. After you have surrendered, it is not the problem of you, it is the problem of the other person. See, beautiful one. So he says, this is the steps. Meditation, knowledge, action, surrender. The least one is surrender. And we think, very easy, sir. So all that we have to do is what? Simply surrender. Try. Only then you will know. Those who say surrender is easy, means they have never tried it. It's like I genuinely thought driving a car is very easy. Two-wheeler na kashtam. Two wheels got to balance, no? Car, what is there to balance? All that you have to do is what? Put the gear, press the accelerator, it will go. Yeah. Shaker will know. Confidently, he gave his car to me. I said, "Avladhan, sir. No, it's not going." After sitting there, only we realized, my God, it's not so easy. Take a turn here, take a turn there, move. On top of all those things, reverse also we have to come. Forward, reverse. No chance, he say. Surrender. Those who say surrender is easy have never attempted to surrender. You see, surrendering to an unknown entity, imaginary entity, is very easy. That's why surrendering to God is very easy. You can say, I have surrendered to God. God is not going to come in front of you. He is not going to come and interact with you. But to say, to surrender to someone with whom you interact, impossible. Because the moment you see something which is not in alignment with your, what will happen? I've heard people, saying, he is not a good teacher. How can he be like this? Chennai lectures, we used to finish the lectures and come back. Then the bus stand, all of us will be standing. Those days I used to be, It's not, Swamiji student. So I'll be in my, shirt and trousers. Sometimes I'll go with dhoti. Mostly it will be dhoti. Sometimes from college, if I go straight, I'll go. If I go home, and then come back, dhoti. Dhoti and stand. In Chennai, dhoti standing is not a big issue. Very common there. They'll be standing. The fellow. Did you see what he did? Commenting. Two fellows standing there, mama. Two uncles will be standing there, commenting. You saw how he drank that water? He's speaking for 1.5 hours, right? Once in a while he drinks water. He is drinking, he sips. Juta. And he's explaining Tattvamasi and Purushottam Yoga and all that he's explaining. Allah poche. Focus is where is he drinking water, sipping or pouring? Some of them have to have coffee like that. Her brother is like that. And he will ask hot. Sudale liye, hot coffee. We are used to sipping and drinking. No, he will not do that. He will take that and pour. Like tank mari ulla podu. How do you drink that? And then he'll complain also. Sudave liye. Weird. Whole equation is what? So next day onwards, I don't see them in the lecture hall. My job is to search for those fellows. Mama Karad. Be standing there to watch the fellows not there in the stage. Bus stop also we'll miss them because you may come different timing. In the lecture hall, I will see. Searching for those fellows. They don't come. Why? How can a spiritual guru sip and drink water? No, not allowed. Therefore, he is not a Brahmajnani. And then they say surrender. No, surrender. All that I have to do is what? Simply sip what water is enough. All your surrender will go. Not an easy task, remember. If the easiest one itself is so complex, you can understand Karma Yoga, you can understand Sankhya Yoga, you can understand Dhyana Yoga. That's why I'm saying. See you next class.